Yesterday, one of my closest friends asked me to make her daughter's first custom birthday cake. She offered $200, more than I used to charge for wedding cakes a few years ago. But I had to say no. And you know what? The reason why I said no to her completely changed how I see this cake business thing. In this video, I'm going to reveal to you what I wished I knew when I tried to turn my cake passion into a business. And if you're thinking about doing the same today, this video is for you. The good news is what I'm about to share works, whether you're sold 0 cakes or 100, because it's not about your baking skills at all. It's about something I see very few people talk about, unfortunately. Like many of you watching right now, I started baking because it was my happy place. Every weekend, I'd be in my kitchen, experimenting with new flavors, watching countless tutorials, perfecting my buttercream technique, and everyone kept saying, "You should sell these." Staying up way too late and getting so excited when my friends and family praised my creations. I was able to take the leap, but I had this little voice in my head saying that maybe, just maybe, I can do this. And like you're probably thinking, people are always going to need cakes, right? If we're good at making them, turning this into a business should be pretty straightforward. Oh, how wrong I was. That's exactly what I thought until I tried to make my first real sale, and my second, my third, my sixth, and my 10th. Something just wasn't working, but I couldn't figure out what that something was. Today, I'm sharing what I desperately wish someone had told me before I even tried to sell my first cake. Because without this information, you either attract no customers or you may end up working those 80-hour weeks, saying yes to every single order and barely making minimum wage. But with what I'm about to share with you, everything changes. You see, everyone told me, start small and grow. Take any order you can get, build your portfolio, charge less at first to get your name out there. And I followed that advice right into complete burnout. I was working around the clock, saying yes to every single request, trying to compete with grocery store prices while putting in 10 times the work, working until 2 a.m. to finish cakes I was barely making any profit on, dealing with last-minute changes from clients who'd found a similar cake for half the price on Pinterest, feeling guilty every time I quoted a price, then feeling more guilty when I realized I'd undercharged. Again, my friends and family kept asking for discount cakes, and I felt guilty saying no. After all, they'd supported me from the beginning, right? But here's the problem, and I know this might sound strange. The real issue wasn't my prices, it wasn't my skills, it wasn't even my market. The real problem was how I saw myself. And that's what changed everything. Let me show you something that would really help you understand what I mean by that. I was scrolling through Instagram the other day and saw nearly 2 identical cakes. Same size, same basic design, both absolutely beautiful. One was priced at $65 and the other $350. And here's what's wild. The ingredients probably cost exactly the same. I've seen that both bakers started from their home kitchens. And from what I can see, they're both incredibly talented. The only difference? One understood something about this business that took me years to figure out. Now you might be thinking, well, the $350 cake must be in a fancy area, right? Like New York City or Beverly Hills. That's exactly what I used to think. But I know this isn't true. I know cake designers charging premium prices everywhere from tiny towns in the Midwest to big cities, even rural areas where nobody would ever pay that much for a cake. And here's what I also noticed here. The baker charging $350, her entire Instagram feed told a story, not just about cakes, but celebrations, about moments, about artistry. She wasn't competing with grocery stores. She was competing with photographers, florists, and other luxury vendors. Also, and this really caught my eye, her clients weren't just tagging her in cake photos. They were featuring her cakes in their wedding albums, their party highlight reels, their family portraits. She had positioned herself as part of those precious memories, not just as someone who delivers dessert. That's because she understood something that I wish I knew when I got started. It's not about where you live. It's not even about how amazing your cakes are. It's about being perceived as different. How are you going to make it if you're just another baker? The key is understanding that we're in the business of selling experiences, not just sweet treats. And it starts by changing how you see yourself. You know what's funny? I spent so much time trying to fix the wrong things, tweaking my recipes, adjusting my prices up and down, second-guessing every business decision. None of that mattered until I faced an uncomfortable truth. And I want to share this with you because it might feel a bit uncomfortable at first. But trust me, this can truly make the difference to successfully turn your cake passion into a business. When I started out, I thought focusing on being the best baker would make me successful. I spent countless hours perfecting my recipes, learning new techniques, buying every tool and gadget. But and I hate to admit it, the more I improved my skills, the more frustrated I got. Because even though my cakes were getting better and better, my profits just weren't. I was just working harder for the same money. And that's when I realized being talented is not enough. Here's what I wish someone had told me at that time. Before you even sell your first cake, you need to decide. And it's very important, so hear me out. Are you a hobby baker who sometimes gets paid? Or are you a cake business owner? Because there is a world of difference between the two. Think about it. When someone orders a luxury bag, they're not just buying the leather and the stitching. They're buying into something bigger. The same goes for your cakes. Your clients aren't just buying flour, eggs, and sugar arranged prettily. They're buying an experience, a moment, a memory. This was such a huge mindset shift for me. I stopped seeing myself as someone who makes cakes for extra money and started seeing myself as a cake artist. It's not just a simple change of name, because by seeing yourself differently, you act and think differently. And you know what? My clients started to see me differently too. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but Maria, I'm working from my home kitchen. I don't have a fancy storefront or professional equipment. I know, but don't worry, you don't need any of that. Some of the most successful cake designers I know still work from home with the typical home baker equipment. What you actually made might surprise you. It's not a commercial kitchen or expensive tools. It's something much simpler, but so many people miss it. You need to position yourself correctly from day one. Let me explain. Instead of trying to compete with every other baker in town, create something unique. Something you could be known for. For me, when I finally got this, I wasn't just another home baker. I was the cake artist for people who wanted something extraordinary. So that's the key. You need to be known for something unique, something that makes you the go-to person for what you can be the best at. And this isn't just theory. Let me show you exactly how this plays out in real life. In fact, I can pinpoint the exact moment when everything changed for me, when this shift from baker to artist started to really bring in the kind of clients I'd always dreamed of. You see, after I made this mental shift, something incredible started happening with my inquiries. Let me share one thing that literally made me sit back in my chair and think, oh my goodness, this is actually working. I got this message one day, completely out of the blue. This bride said, I've been following your work for weeks and I don't even want to look at other cake designers. Your style is exactly what I dreamed of for my way. Now, here's what's interesting. She never once asked me about my prices. Not once. Instead, she asked me about my design process, my inspiration, how we could work together to create something unique. When I told her my price, which was 3 times what I used to charge, she didn't even blink. She booked right there on the spot. Why? Because of these 2 things I'd finally gotten right. And I'm going to share them with you because they have been a tremendous help for me and hundreds of others. First, you need to set up your business foundations properly. I'm not talking about fancy websites or expensive branding. I mean the essential pieces that make clients see you as a professional from their very first interaction with you. For example, when someone reaches out about a cake now, here's exactly what I say. And trust me, this completely transforms how they view your work. Instead of jumping straight into prices and flavors, I start with questions that guide them towards seeing the value of what I create. Questions like, tell me about the moment you're celebrating. And what feeling do you want your guests to have when they see your cake? This leads perfectly into handling your first inquiries. The way that you respond to that very first message sets the tone for your entire business relationship. I learned this the hard way, so now you don't have to. You're welcome. Second, you need to say no to what's not aligned with what you can do best and only focus on orders where you know you'll deliver an outstanding creation. This is where most cake designers go wrong. They try and book as many orders as possible. Focus on booking the right orders. But here's what I want you to do instead. Let me show you exactly what that looks like. I had a client last month and she wanted a cake for her daughter's sweet 16. Now, the old me would have immediately sent her my prices and flavors. But instead, I asked her to tell me about her daughter. What happened next was magical. She opened up about this beautiful vision she had, how she wanted her daughter to feel like a princess. I knew exactly how I'm going to do it, thanks to all the information she gave me. This means that my creation matched perfectly with her vision, and I didn't have to figure it all out on my own. When I quoted my price, $850, for a cake that would have been $200 in my early days, she said yes without hesitation. Why? Because I wasn't selling a cake anymore. I was offering something much more valuable, a centerpiece for a precious memory, a work of art that would be photographed and remembered forever. I know this works, because it was not just me. I have one of my students, Abigail, who joined our cake business program last spring. She was a complete beginner at 32, working a full-time job. She implemented these exact same principles I'm sharing with you. Then just 3 months, she went from charging $85 for celebration cakes to consistently booking $500 orders. And she's not alone. Others have done it, and if you're watching this right now, you can do it too. If that sounds like something that you would be thrilled to do, check out what I prepared specifically for you in the description below. I'm sure you'll love it. We covered a lot so far, and most of the time, this is where most cake tutorials and business advice stops, right? They tell you what to do, but they don't tell you how to address those nagging doubts that might be popping up in your head right now. I can almost hear what you're thinking because these are the exact same thoughts that used to keep me up at night. Those little voices that make you question if you can really do this. Let me address them directly because I've been exactly where you are, and I want you to know something important. You might think, for example, but Maria, I'm just starting out. You know what? Every single successful cake designer started exactly where you are. We all start with 0 clients, 0 portfolio, and just pure passion. Yes, but what if no one in my area will pay these prices? I thought the exact same thing. But here's what's fascinating. In every single market, there are people who value quality and artistry over price. They're already spending thousands on special moments. They're just waiting for someone like you to offer them something extraordinary. Remember that friend I mentioned at the start? The one whose baby's birthday cake I turned down? Here's what happened next. Instead of making her cake, I referred her to another talented baker I knew, Jessica, who had just completed our program 2 months prior. Jessica was actually a kindergarten teacher who was terrified of charging more than $150 for her cakes. But after going through the exact system I developed, she confidently quoted $300 for my friend's cake and got it. Now, Jessica consistently books premium customers and has cut back to teaching part-time because her cake business is thriving. My friend also got a beautiful, stunning cake at a price point that worked for her. And I stayed true to my business model. Everyone won. And this brings me back to where I started, to that passion that first made you fall in love with cake design. That feeling when you step back and look at a finished cake, knowing that you have created something beautiful. That's still there. It's just that now you can turn that passion into a real sustainable business. You don't need to wait until you're ready. You don't need to start really small and work your way up. You don't need to pay your dues with years of underpriced cakes. You can start right now, today, positioning yourself as the premium cake artist you truly are. Because here's what I know for sure. There's someone out there right now planning a special moment who would love to have your cake part of their celebration. They're just waiting for you to show up as the artist you truly are. The only question is, are you ready to serve them at that level? Because if you are, everything I struggled with, everything I wish I knew, it's all here for you now. You just need to take that first step, and I want to help you with that. I've put together something special for you in the description below. It's basically everything I wish I knew when I started, plus the exact system that's helped hundreds of other cake lovers transform their passion into a predictable, low-stress cake business. If you found value in what I shared today, you're going to absolutely love what I've prepared for you. Take a moment right now to check out what I prepared for you in the description. Trust me, 6 months from now, you'll be so glad you did. I truly believe this could change everything for you, just like it did for me and for so many others. Now, go check that out, and I can't wait to see what you'll create in the near future. I'm rooting for you. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.